So this is an AllStar reel with a broken spring. And this is the replacement spring. To open the reel, one turns it upside down and unscrews these two screws with a screwdriver 5.5 by 1 millimeter straight. Once the screws are out, one turns the reel upside down, or actually in a normal way. It removes the lid. The next step is to remove this sleeve here and unsolder the lids from these two contacts. And this is how the two leads look once the isolation is removed with a simple utility knife I use like this one here. The next step is to slightly loosen this screw in here so that this arm can freely move. One doesn't need to unscrew the screw completely. This is enough. Now this thing can move. And the next step is the actual unsoldering of the two leads. So once the leads are desoldered or unsoldered, whatever it's called in English, this thingy can be moved away this way. Doesn't want to cooperate too much, but just keep it as far to the side as possible. Next step is to remove the reel, the spool itself. This is done by releasing these two screws using the same screwdriver. When these two screws are unscrewed, mind this wire is the grounding, so it has to be connected afterwards. So one removes these screws and washers. Yes, and it's ready to be removed. What I forgot to say is that it's not just yet ready to be removed. These two wires here have to be unsoldered or desoldered too. So mind the fact that this board here is connected to the spool only with hot glue. So once warming this up, sometimes this might detach and you have a problem. You have to glue it with instant glue or something, and it's not very efficient. So try not to overheat these two when desoldering and afterwards soldering back. So here are the wires removed. They had glued them here. Don't mind it, just drag them out. This is the position they should be in. Keep this on this to the side and remove the spool. The spool is now removed. There is a lot of dirty stuff in it, so just hoover it out. And mind this thing, because it is only pinned down and gets out very easily, and it's easy to forget to place it back in place and it starts running after the fencer afterwards. Try to keep it here. For simplicity, I will remove this thing for the moment so that we can work only with the reel with the spring. So the spring is contained in this black box underneath the reel, and it is held by these three screws. Right, and they need to be removed. They're removed from this side. So these are the screws, 1, 2, that's 1, 3. Using the same screwdriver, one removes them. You might wish to keep your finger onto the other side just to hold the screw nut in place while you're doing it. Now as the screws are out, we can turn this thing upside down again. Remove this lid, which is nothing but a simple lubrication lid. So as one can see, now if I try to pull it out, it will get a bit stuck. So one needs to use pliers in order to release this piece from the middle. And this is how it is done. And there we go. Here is the compartment for the spring. So in order to open and see the spring, we need to unscrew these 4 screws along the rim and remove the aluminum lid. So just don't forget that the grounding is connected right here, so it has to come back in its place. This is the ground going to your connector here. So now as the screws are removed, one can remove also the aluminum lid. It's a bit dirty and nasty underneath, so I use the pliers. Leave it somewhere on the side, doesn't matter. So here is the broken spring. Using the pliers again not to get too dirty. There's the broken piece. This needs to be removed. So one suggestion is to use cable ties, because if you just pull it out, it will spread itself all over the room. Will make everything totally shitty, and yeah, well, you can get hurt. So I'm going to use these 2 totally normal ordinary cable ties and tie it once here. So this place is very important because this is where the spring is attached, and it flies away really nastily in the opposite direction, like that, like that. So we want to immobilize in this place here, and diametrically opposite right here it will be another cable tie. Okay, so one of these things is already in after a little bit of struggle. So here I use basically quite a bit of leverage with the screwdriver and fingers, and try just not to release it, right? Not to let it out of the bloody box, because it gets really nasty. So this thing now has to get all the way out or in. Just for sake of security, I will secure it a bit. And pull it out. So, secured this way, the spring is ready to go out. How do we do that? Same way, screwdriver helps us. And there it is. Spring is out. The old one. Have to remove this thing carefully. And there it is. A broken spring. Ready for the rubbish bin.